Hey y'all, my name is Bobby Payton. So a couple weeks ago, I was made aware of a case that's happening here in Brazos County with a father that's in jail due to a civil matter. He is a veteran Marine, and the case was very, very odd. So where there's something missing, usually there's a lot missing or there's stuff to investigate. Well, it turns out Wayne Dolcefino was asked to investigate, and he did. If you don't know anything about Wayne Dolcefino, he's an investigative journalist in the Houston area. He uncovers a lot of corruption and things. I would say he's an activist. Some would say he's a rebel rouser or gosper. Whatever you say, he finds the wrong and tries to make it right. And he found this gentleman, Matt Murski, and he's helping him. Matt Murski, as of right now, sits in jail, and I want to play the video that Dolcefino made that gathers all the information, all the evidence, so that you can see what happened to him, and it's something that's happening to other fathers here in Brazos Valley. Here we go.
Matt Murski is a fitness trainer in Bryan College Station, a former Aggie football player, a former Marine.
Changed where I lived. I've moved into a CrossFit. I built one. I want to teach CrossFit.
An early star in the CrossFit wave. Featured in this documentary about the mettle it must take to work out like this. The commitment.
What standards? There are no fucking standards.
But none of that training prepared Matt for the smackdown he would get in a Brazos County family courtroom.
And I get zero respect in the court whatsoever. Zero.
We weren't shocked. We've gotten complaints about Judge Wendy Wood Henserling for years.
I want to pause it here. So when this came up, I heard the name of this judge before, but I didn't know where. So as we come back, I'm going to talk to you about a few more cases, or, side note, if you want to Google her and see some of the past cases, could be interesting. Let's keep listening.
Another prime example of a problem Texas legislators must fix. An unelected judge who gets to control a family's destiny. Who could forget the time she called a parent in a custody hearing a dickhead just because he drove a Corvette? Seriously.
Yeah, Corvette, yeah. Dickhead.
How do you feel?
At least she then showed her disdain for both parents after they had left her courtroom. She's real sweet.
Absolutely, I wanted to throat punch both of them. And I didn't have a big enough brain. This one's too flat.
It was a rare chance to get audio from inside a Texas courtroom. And it's that very same lion's den that Matt Murski entered in September of 2021.
I mean, it's like watching a train wreck.
Before we let you hear the train go off the tracks, let's tell you more about this tale of family injustice. Matt and Leah were married in 2014, had their first child the next year, and that's when Matt says everything started going wrong. He complained about credit card spending. There were allegations of domestic abuse. Matt has a picture of a bite mark on his chest, but no police reports were filed.
Repeated violence in the home, being hit in the face, my life of living on the couch in my marriage.
Matt says he knew he had to have a divorce in 2020, the height of the pandemic.
The second time she ran up my credit cards, after I'd already borrowed from her parents to pay it off the first time, I said, that's it, no more, I'm not pulling any more debt for you.
The business at his Body Lab gym was all but non-existent now. His only real income, he says, coming from COVID loans for struggling small businesses. So Matt...
I want to pause. His income, where his income came from. Two things in this case. One, who founded the business came into play in the court case, and his income, okay? I don't know how we define income in Texas or in these courts that this man was in, but I don't know if you can qualify loans as income, and they played a part in him sitting in jail. Let's keep listening.
Says he went to Leah's attorney, Amy Banks, and asked her to mediate a quickie divorce.
I think we can be agreeable. We want to be best things for the kids. And Amy Banks said, oh no, that's not how we do this. We're going to go to court.
And that's what brings me to today. He said, we're going to do what's best for the kids. Oh no, that's not how we do this. So then I started looking up this attorney, and the connection between this attorney and this judge was interesting. There's patterns. You look at patterns, or I look at patterns, I'm like, this is odd. It's oddly familiar. It's a small town, small county. Perhaps not. when I read over several of the cases in the docket notes. But let's keep going because it gets more interesting.
Of course, that's how family lawyers billing by the hour make the most money. In a long, dragged-out fight, Banks ignored our letter to interview, and Leah, well, she wasn't interested either.
I have nothing to say to y'all. If you want to ask any questions, everything is documented in court.
Matt had called 911 weeks before the hearing, claiming Leah was creating a scene at his gym.
Yes, can I get a police officer sent out to my business? I'm afraid of some, violence. My wife, who I'm in the middle of a divorce with, is saying that she's sitting up here and pretty much slandering me and doing everything that we're not allowed to do. I need her removed from the premises.
But it was Leah who filed for divorce first, and there's a lesson in that. And that brings us back to the injustice in this Brazos County courtroom. Not just an unelected judge passing judgment, but one with a growing reputation for finding a villain way too quickly.
This is set for 1 hour. So that will be 30 minutes for each side, open, close, direct, cross, and all exhibits.
Only 1 hour to argue about years of trouble before a judge that wasn't only deciding on child support for 3 little kids, but how much money Matt's wife would get paid in temporary spousal support until the divorce was final. We know from the transcript that Leah was on the witness stand for 40 minutes.
I'm going to say this once. I want this to go like Santa Claus, lightning quick.
A frustrated Matt Murski got less than 8 minutes to tell his side of the story on the witness stand. He'd already learned the judge didn't want to talk about anything other than dollars and cents. Murski was ordered to pay $1,100 in monthly child support for the kids and more than $2,000 in monthly spousal support for his wife.
So get unhappy now, so that you'll be unhappy when you get the ruling, and you can just get happy afterwards, okay?
It wasn't as much as she wanted, but the judge had totally ignored Matt's claims that his personal training business was now actually losing money every month in the wake of the pandemic. The judge had a fix for that too. Reduce your expenses and make more money. Easy for the judge to say that, but I don't know. It sure sounds pretty damn rude to us, although I am thinking of another word too.
Pick up 17 more clients by the end of the day and get a second job. Sorry. That's just the way it's going to have to be.
But what I can tell you is there is a problem in the state of Texas with the way temporary orders hearings are conducted.
Houston attorney John LaGrappe says family law judges often impose arbitrary time limits to hear deeply personal family fights.
It's wrong because you have a due process right to a fair hearing. And what's really happening is your clients don't get a fair hearing.
Agreed. Matt did not get a fair hearing. It's wrong. And so keep watching because you're going to hear more about the wrong and how he ended up in jail for 30 days.
It's basically a rush to judgment.
If I don't pay this back spousal support, it was more than I'm making at the time, then I go to jail. I'm like, how do I get that ruling?
Well, this may tell us why. Judge Henscheling's docket notes we found in courthouse records. Remember, Matt Murski had only gotten a few minutes to testify.
Only a few. These docket notes were so subjective. As I went through them, and I'll post screenshots after this of the docket notes so you can see it clearly, were probably some of the most subjective I'd ever seen.
Those are odd docket notes.
Judge Henscheling took issue with Murski talking fast, even though his lawyer had told him to. Look at the notes. Father's testimony is lots of fast talk.
It seems to me if you have a shorter hearing, someone's going to have to talk a lot quicker to get out what they want to say. It's just common sense.
But the judge didn't stop there. She decided that the real reason Matt Murski stopped paying his wife so much money wasn't because he was relying on loans that had run out. It was really because she stopped giving him sex. Quoting, he would give her $1,080 per week, but then stop that when she wouldn't sleep with him.
I was like, does she have proof of that? How does she know? Was she there? Like, y'all, so many thoughts. Crazy. Anyway, just keep going.
Judge Henscheling had clearly picked a favorite. Quoting, he's seemingly quite shady or very ignorant or some semblance of both. All that after knowing the guy for an hour. We showed Matt what we found.
I thought it was awful. It's like I'd never had a fighting chance.
Matt
He's exactly right. Like, because I saw perjury, lack of due process, of fair hearing, and again, that dives into like his 14th Amendment right.
Filed for bankruptcy a month later.
During the Chapter 13 case, temporary orders kept being extended.
He fought every step of the way not to pay his now ex-wife, who he said had no involvement in a business he started long before they were married.
Correct. And there's proof of that. But in court, she said that she started the business. Just some of the violations I'll tell you later, which they're regarding all the violations that ended up putting him where he is today.
What I would like to do is get my side heard. For good faith, I was at the top of what I was doing at the time. And I got saddled with an albatross that has intentionally done this to sink herself onto somebody and make me the fall guy for her and get a payoff for the rest of her life.
To bolster his claim, Matt even found eyewitnesses to that trespassing complaint he filed. One of them called his now ex-wife, quote, unhinged.
He deserves better than what he's gotten. And I feel that the ruling that she gave is what's causing his life to be such a mess.
But it turned out the two eyewitnesses were neighbors to Judge Henserling, and so she decided to recuse herself. It took almost 2 years for the Murski divorce to be finalized, and those monthly payments to his wife finally ended. That's because of another weird quirk in Texas law. If you're married less than 10 years, like Matt was, you don't have to pay spousal support when your divorce is finalized. Family lawyers know that. It's an incentive lawyers tell us to keep the temporary rulings in place.
The problem is that can be ripe for abuse, because what happens is, since the spouse that's receiving the spousal support knows when the case is over, they're not going to get alimony. They have an incentive to drag out the case as long as they can, and therefore they can collect as much spousal support. And so it drags the case out sometimes for years and years.
And it's another example of a family court system built on making lawyers a lot of money no matter what. And like Judge Henserling, the new judge in the case didn't seem to want to talk about the trauma of the Murski marriage either, claiming Matt was, quote, intentionally underemployed. Matt believes Judge Henserling's courthouse notes poisoned the system again.
I have to agree, because he showed a $20,000 a month shortage in his income and was still ruled to pay $67,000 or spend 30 days in jail. Like, this is all documented. So besides just word of mouth and who you know, and like, why would they rule? Like, the objective facts don't substantiate that. But let's keep going. It's not even done yet.
Against him. And now he owes $67,000 in back spousal support that is past due. He has closed his gym, moved in with his dad, still fighting.
I can't start a new lease. I can't start a new gym. I can't go get an apartment or get on my feet. I can't do anything where I'm looking over my shoulder every day like I'm going to go to jail for 6 months.
And he did. He was picked up a little before Christmas. He was set up by, well, I wonder if you could guess who set him up to then be picked up and taken to jail on Christmas. So I'm going to read to you what I got from one of the sources. It says that, well, I found an appellate case online, and the team did an amazing job with the docs. There's a lot more nastiness than I thought I would say, that we have a big opportunity to show corruption on all these sides. It's very interesting, y'all, when you look at all these things, and I will post the link to the case and the docket and the case number so you can see it for yourself. Right now, Matt is in jail. He is, in my opinion, being detained illegally at this point. His kids were without him at Christmas. I don't know what judge can sleep with themselves at night knowing that, like, I signed this order for $67,000. Like, it could have waited. It wouldn't have changed what's happening, but at least those kids would have had their dad for Christmas. By the way, he is not the only person in jail. I have another guy that's trying to reach out to me today or tomorrow to share his story, and there are similar characters at play. I'm going to post the case and all the violations that ultimately landed Matt in jail or made it to them valid. So 1 through 6 I saw is based on lies, perjury, and there's really no proof. 8, false information. 9 to 12, his bookkeeper and accountant routinely changed passwords to avoid hacking. But aside from this, these are proof that Matt was or still is a sole owner in LLC and is well established long before Leah entered the picture. This could have been cleared up with proper due process. Another act of perjury on Leah's part. I mean, like, if I can prove it, that like what you said is like untrue and you're saying in court, that's perjury. So 13, questionable as to their definitions of reckless spending. Again, that's subjective to me. Matt apparently wasn't allowed to do anything other than to give all monies to Leah. Anything else was considered reckless spending, as he was living in a makeshift living area, mind you, above the body lab, which included all his children sleeping on a futon, doing the best that a dad could do under those circumstances. Then 14 through 28, spousal support payment in an amount set well above what he could afford, and still based on the original perjury of Leah being half of the owner of the business. Like, my goodness. So on page 6, you can see that they asked Matt to be held in contempt, jailed and fined for each violation, 6 months for each to run concurrently. They can only give him the max of 18 months, although this will all go away if he forks over $68,000. Then they will ask, or then they want 10 years of community service. Crazy. So, wow, there's 2 attorneys, Rick Davis and Shannon Borman, that filed documents notifying the court that Matt could not afford the amount ordered by the court, which is Family Code 8.059C, therefore should not be held in contempt or punished. And from the looks of it, these were simply ignored by the court. So it's nasty behavior by the court. I'll have some follow-up videos. After all this and the wormhole that it took me to, it's hard to believe that Henserling and Banks, like, I mean, it's hard to believe that this is legal and just. It just is too odd. It's too odd not to speculate that there's wrong here. And again, there's another guy. But again, he spent Christmas in jail, away from his kids, a veteran, a Marine. He did not get due process. He didn't get his fair rights after fighting for this country and those rights. He didn't even get them himself. Now, there's one thing I found when I was digging through the stuff. I don't know if anybody knows this, but child support payment fees get fragmented and a portion of them go to judges' retirement funds. So to me, that's conflict of interest because that incentivizes judges to give child support because those child support payments eventually lead to their retirement. Is this all connected? Perhaps. I just got this not that long ago, so I couldn't keep digging. Maybe somebody out there will help Dulcifina's team, help Matt get him out. Follow these characters, these names. Now, I can't tell y'all what to do with this information, but I do need your help to get it out. So feel free to share, and help make these characters really famous. But again, follow the post because I will follow with the documents and all the facts and the appellate case and the case number. Thanks, and have a great day.